Hello, dear viewers, and welcome to Inside Agriculture with me, Emmanuel Mwemba. Of course, in the studio, I'm not alone. I'm with my usual co-presenter, Claribel Musonda. Claribel, welcome to Inside Agriculture.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Hello, viewers, and how have you been?
Great, great. It's always a pleasure, Claribel, to come on this farmer's table to feed farmers with right information. Great, great. Dear viewers, also in the studio, we are joined by agriculture expert, Dr. Oliver Bulaya, who is here to help us discuss Zambia's preparedness for the projected El Nino. El Nino has continued actually shaping conversation on the public media concerning farmers' preparations to navigate the adverse effects of climate shocks. What should farmers do? And how prepared is Zambia in terms of navigating the adverse effects of climate change? Dr. Bulaya is here to help us with that. Dr. Bulaya, welcome to Inside Agriculture.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, and it's really my pleasure always being on your set.
As usual, as usual.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Please do enjoy
the conversation.
The conversation.
Yes. As we feed farmers with right information.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe to kickstart the conversation from the agricultural technical perspective as we discuss El Nino. What is El Nino and how does it affect the farming community?
Yes, this is a very important discussion, Emmanuel, even as you are aware that El Nino is a climate condition, and it is very important. Our farmers, not only our farmers actually, even the business managers should know how to manage this crisis, because it doesn't affect only the farmers, it affects actually even those that are involved in business in the area of load shedding, low productivity. This scales up actually unemployment levels because the production levels dwindles, and this is a major actually challenge that we are facing as the global community, not only Zambia. And when we are talking about El Nino, a brief background is to understand the climate system. We are under the biosphere. There is what we refer to as biosphere, this environment where we are. There is hydrosphere, lithosphere, cryosphere, and all these other important climate system, which is about 5 in number. In short, for other people to understand what I mean is this, that we have water bodies. We have mountainous areas or rocky areas. We have the area where we are, where there are rivers and all that. These are associated to water bodies, the oceans and all that. So all these are climate systems, and they are embedded, they are interconnected. So whatever happens in the biosphere affects any of these 5 climatical systems. And this is where we are now. When you understand what we are doing as human activities in terms of industrialization, where you need to cut trees, where you need to burn fuel, for mining, all these smokes that are coming through from our vehicles, agriculture also in terms of cutting trees, to expand agricultural activities. All this induce, affects actually the climate system, the biosphere, and all these interconnected systems. Because you have to know that the oceans play its role in terms of absorbing heat. And when the carbon is released, from the trees that are cut, human beings, breathe out carbon dioxide, and these trees inhibit this carbon dioxide, and the oceans also absorb the heat so that we have normal temperatures around and all that. So all these climate systems are, they have, such kind of a challenge. One system affects the other because of releasing these carbons and through various levels. So this is what induced, climate change. Now, under climate change, we have the, common phenomenon of the climate, which is La Nina, where we have higher rainfall to normal above rainfall, where we experience flooding and all that. we have another aspect of this challenge, which is the El Nino, where we have reduced, rainfall activities, and this is what is anticipated. Sometimes we have dry spells. Dry spells is a situation where you may have rainfall today, next week may not rain, the other week it rains. But now when we are talking about droughts, it means that in a month there will be totally no rainfall at all. So in this aspect for 2026 to 2027 season, this is the climate condition that we are anticipating to experience. And it's not new to Zambia. We had this, I think, 2024, 2025, and somewhere around 2012, somewhere there, we had the same condition. So it's not new, but it has ravaging effects on all the sectors of the economy.
Great.
So, Emmanuel,
yes.
imagine the previous season of 2025-2026 farming season. We had a lot of rainfall.
Yeah.
So now they anticipated now it's whereby we are going to have minimal rainfall, which is the farming season of 2026-2027. Now, Dr. Blaya, as Zambia is anticipating this El Nino, what is the unit, the conservation farming unit, implementing to help the farmers build their resilience as well as safeguard their lives?
Well, we've had this challenge not as for the first time, like I mentioned. And if you look at the history, we are mainly, reactive to situations. We don't want to be proactive. Proactive is a situation where farmers prepare. When they hear this information, they prepare. So on the part of conservation farming unit, we are taking what we call risk communication strategy, where we are down where farmers are in terms of informing them on the pending, climate crisis. Actually, in other countries, Western countries, they're experiencing extreme heat conditions, and we are told 2027 may be one of the hottest, year in the history of the global community. So these are the challenges that are here to stay. This is one thing farmers should know. So we are on the ground through our network. As Conservation Farming Unit, we have a network of farmer coordinators. And as you are aware, we reach out to over 200,000 farmers in a year, in terms of informing them on...
across Zambia.
Across Zambia.
All the provinces.
Yeah, although we are not in all the provinces, but in specific provinces where we are working with, because of the network of the farmer coordinators that we have, they reach out to so many farmers. So at the end of the day, we reach out to quite a bigger number of farmers in terms of outreach, where information is concerned on the pending El Nino. What is it that farmers can do? So we have quite a lot of interventions in terms of, it is very important, for farmers to caution the impact of this through climate risk, communication. And there are technologies that farmers should embrace themselves with, because this climate crisis is coming in with low rainfall. So what do we do? One important aspect, which is very critical in conservation and agriculture, we've talked about this here on this platform, is tillage system, very important. Making basins, reaping, so that farmers trap the moisture. So what we've done now as Conservation Farming Unit, we've come up, through mechanization experts who've brought to us some of the important tools and equipment farmers can use in terms of preparing land to trap moisture. So instead of farmers now going in to dig basins, they can go in with a machine, a basin digger, to make those basins easier, and cheap way of doing things. And
is the machine not expensive for a small farmer?
It's not, because there are modalities.
Compared to traditional.
Yes, there are modalities.
Is it automated? Does it need diesel? Or?
It needs fuel, actually 1 liter. And with 1 liter, a farmer can prepare over a lima, 2 limas, which is very efficient in terms of land preparation. So what we are doing, Christabel, is this, that farmers should mechanize. It is very important to mechanize at that level. So to those that are not able to buy, some of these machines are going at 5,000 kwacha. We understand some farmers may not have the resources, but there are those with resources who are providing the tillage service to other farmers. So the information we are carrying out is this, that farmers should also prepare now in terms of buying the inputs that are required, the fertilizers that are required in advance. And farmers should also prepare the seed. It's important to diversify in terms of preparedness. This is the essence of early warning systems, to help our farmers to prepare. So they have to prepare in terms of seeds that they need to grow. What varieties are they going to use? And are they drought tolerant? Are they going to diversify in terms of growing these other legumes, sorghum and millet, or these other cereals, to embed it other than just depending on one kind of a farming system? The livestock sector also, they are affected because they don't have actually grass where animals can feed during this dry period. So what do we do? So we have this holistic approach to help our farmers prepare on how to tackle all these stages of farming.
Great. Now, Dr. Bulaya, actually, you've talked about indigenous crops and drought-tolerant crops, and farmers are encouraged to grow such kind of crops. But looking at the current status, is Zambia ready to embrace traditional crops and traditional farming methods?
For us at conservation farming, we encourage the dual system of farming. It's very important. Yeah, but it's also one aspect we need to understand quickly, that farming is business. So if you want to make more money, go for hybrids because of the yield, potential that you expect, from hybrids. And when you want to go for your own livelihood support for your own family, engage into growing of local seed, varieties. They are good, they are nutritious, and they are supportive in terms of at family level, but they are not so much yielding. They don't carry the yielding potential in terms of selling the surplus. So farmers can do both. It is very important. It brings in an aspect of nutrition also. Despite that we are going to have the climate crisis, it's important to enhance our health, our well-being as farmers. So it's important our farmers to diversify these portions, grow nutritious crops so that they enhance their well-being. Because climate change or this El Nino crisis also induce diseases, that affects the farming fraternity, crops, and also the livestock sector. So it's important for us to be nutritious and to ensure that we are eating, foods that are nutritious to protect ourselves from any ailments that will come because of heat and other factors.
So, Claribel, it's a two-way thing.
Yes.
You can grow indigenous crops while also growing exotic crops. You shouldn't just do away with the modern crops.
Crops, the modern crops.
Yeah, you have
then
to.
you just remain with the indigenous one. The
We
forefathers.
are also talking about the aspect of business, viewing farming as a business. So we can't do away with that aspect.
Yes, and Dr. Blair talked about we need to be proactive.
Very much.
You know what is killing most of the farmers is we've heard and we've been informed about the El Nino, which is coming, and we are just seated. Instead of being proactive. So he has emphasized that we should not be reactive, whereby we see that it has hit us, that's when now we want to react, which is very dangerous. That's why we find it very difficult to have...
I think this is where now the presidential irrigation initiative also comes in.
Yes, Dr. Blair. Recently, the presidential irrigation initiative was launched. So what impact do you expect this initiative to have on farmers, particularly strengthening their resilience against climate-related shocks?
Yes, this is a very important technology. Actually, it falls under climate smart agriculture. Our farmers for a long time have embedded their farming system on rain-fed cropping, which is not good at all, looking at the ravaging effects of the climate crisis, which is here to stay. So we need to diversify our farming system in terms of engaging the irrigation farming, which is good because farmers will be irrigating their crops. Even in the rain season, when we have these prolonged dry spells or droughts, they can tap into that irrigation system. Actually, it is also bringing in the aspect of farming throughout the year. Instead of a rain season, waiting for rain season, farmers can get actively involved in making money throughout the year. But with the climate crisis, which is here to stay, water recharging systems are also affected, in that regard. How swiftly are we moving in terms of bringing in aspects of conservation agriculture, conserving our nature, agroforestry, planting trees, taking care of the ecosystem? This is very important. This is why this time around, we are bringing in the aspect of teaching actually even the business managers on the aspect of deep ecology and business interactions in that aspect, so that the fight will not be only, left to farmers, because the climate crisis is not only farmers that are inducing it. Every one of us are playing a role. So we need to look at that situation so that our farmers are supported in terms of enhancing water management, technologies. And let me mention this quickly, is that we are promoting, the government is promoting this. Not everyone will benefit. There are damming initiatives that are being carried out for the community to benefit. But in terms of irrigation, if farmers can benefit from dams, what of the areas where there are no dams? It's a big challenge. So I think to scale up some of these good and notable programs the government is promoting is to provide incentives, to farmers to sink boreholes. Those who may have resources, not every farmer who is vulnerable, others are viable, but at a level of smallholder farmers, let the government provide an incentive where farmers can sink boreholes at manageable resources. Because this time around, to sink a bore, you need 25,000 somewhere. There are 30,000. If you want to incorporate also solar, you need a lot of money, 40,000 and all that, which is beyond the reach of our smallholder farmers. We have a crisis, and these are alternative measures the government is providing: irrigation, solar powered irrigation systems. Let these incentives of solar power and also sinking a bore become somewhat manageable, so that the larger population of our farmers can do that, so that we're able to hit the target in terms of increased production, because there'll be a lot of activity being done at the level of small-scale farmers. And this will push our smallholder farmers into emergent farmers and large-scale farming productivity because of these incentives that are being provided.
Okay, right. Mano, talking about incentives, farming incentives, when you look at government is doing well, especially for us with public, even public service microfinance.
Yes,
you can go there if you have a smallholder farming. You go there and you ask them, and the borehole can be sunk for you.
And also under CEEC.
The
government is also offering affordable loans to farmers.
Loans,
the Ministry of Agriculture is also offering sustainable agriculture financing facilities, so farmers can take advantage of
that. I think we just need to emphasize in terms of informing them, because there are a lot of policies that the government has put in place to help the farmers, and it's up to us to be proactive as well.
Take advantage of those programs that government is providing. Now, Dr. Bulaya, another thing is Zambia has experienced a bumper harvest, yet there is a projection of another El Nino, which is likely to affect the farming community. So what lessons should farmers draw from these two events or experiences, so to say?
Yes, it's very pertinent question, Emmanuel. The president has already mentioned in this aspect, because he's got interest actually in ensuring that we produce and preserve what we have, is to advise our farmers, especially smallholder farmers that are facing challenges, especially with storage facilities and also income levels. This is why we've seen farmers selling everything, and at the end of the day, they start doing pieceworks and then buy whatever commodities they need in terms of maize, which is not good at all. I think we need to look at the market accessibility and the prices, the floor prices that are being offered. Are they empowering our farmers? And this is where we have a bigger challenge, especially private buyers who are not buying at reasonable prices due to many other factors that we cannot labor to go into. So it's important our farmers to preserve some of these commodities. Let them plan, how much can I eat for a year, so that they don't sell everything in case they fail, to produce in the coming season. And it's important also, like we mentioned, to diversify the income levels, so that they don't just depend on maize. They can depend on livestock, keeping keeping chickens, poultry, and all that, village chickens and all that, so that they sustain themselves. But piggery, poultry, all these are adventures that are enterprises that can help our farmers to sustain their farming endeavors. But I think we have all we can to ensure that we support our farmers also in post-harvest management. We have a challenge also of storage facilities, and this is where some of the farmers cannot keep much for themselves because of poor storage facilities that can raise issues of post-harvest losses. So we need also to train our farmers, to scale up this training actually in Zambia in terms of farmers putting up modern storage facilities. This does not only touch the smallholder farmers, actually even the government itself that is struggling in the area of storage facilities. So we need to move swiftly as a country in these aspects so that we protect, what we have.
Yes, to strengthen national food security in the face of these increasing climate changes, what policies or maybe the investment measures do you think the government should adopt?
Yes, I think one of it is the government has to strengthen, the service, extension service delivery in the Ministry of Agriculture and empower them, with mobility, resources, fuel, transport, to reach out to the last mile where farmers are. We still have a shortfall of extension service, and the minister has done extremely very well in structuring the areas. I think we are closing to 2,500, close to 3,000, restructured camps, and we want to employ the government to employ more staff to give the support, to the farmers in that aspect. And we need also to help our farmers, especially in the area, like I mentioned, of managing their crops in terms of post-harvest losses, open up, feeder roads so that there may be more or increased investments, in the rural areas. And I think these are major areas the government can move in, also in the area of putting up like storage facilities across productive areas in the country. These are areas that we need to move swiftly as a country to curb issues of post-harvest losses and to maintain productivity levels.
Great. Actually, addressing climate change and the preparedness of Zambia to the projected El Nino dock, it is a shared responsibility. What role should NGOs play in ensuring that farmers remain resilient in the effect of climate change?
Yes, the private sector, actually, we can talk of the private sector, and the NGOs are doing extremely very well. The private sector are doing well in terms of research and development, and also in terms of seed, packages that are responding to the challenges that we have as a country. We are doing a lot in terms of capacity building, and some of these programs in terms of irrigation, some of the equipment, the NGOs are supporting the farmers through the cooperating partner funding. We are providing some tools and irrigation kits, to our farmers. So we are working together, riding on the government policies to support our farmers. This is why you are seeing increased, productivity levels. It's because we are working together with the government core to ensure that we support our farmers.
Great, Emmanuel. Working together with the government and the NGOs, the private sector.
A shared responsibility.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we have a good food security system.
That's
Finally, Dr. Blaya, what key final message do you have for the farmers, even the viewers who are watching this beautiful program of Inside Agriculture?
There is a role insurance comes in to support our farmers. So it is important that our farmers appreciate, insurance, services to cover them in the event of any losses that are incurred by El Nino or any other climate crisis. Our call is for preparedness. Let our farmers start preparing now. And one key factor in terms of climate smart agriculture or regenerative agriculture or conservation agriculture is land preparation, because land preparation is key to sustaining whatever crops our farmers plant. And it's important this time around that our farmers do the conservation tillage system. This is key to cushion the impact of losses, and it happens like, it works like insurance. To help our farmers curb losses, farmers should start preparing now. And to those that are watching us and listening to this program, we are calling upon you, wherever you are, as farmers, to start land preparation now so that you prevent losses that come with the climate crisis.
Great. Dr. Bulaya, thank you so much for making an appearance on Inside Agriculture.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you.
This is where we have to pack our bags.
And go.
And
but
go for
very
sure.
insightful and very educative.
As
so
usual.
be proactive.
We have to be proactive indeed.
Indeed.
We shouldn't wait for climate change to impact us negatively. That's when now we react to the situation. We have to be always proactive.
Exactly. And change the way we do the farming. Instead of depending on the modern products, we should balance up the modern and the indigenous crops.
Yes. There you have it, dear viewers. This is where we've come to the end of Inside Agriculture. In the studio, we had agriculture expert, Dr. Bulaya, who was just here to share more light on how best farmers can prepare themselves for the anticipated El Nino. My co-presenter has been Claribel Musonda, and I've been Emmanuel Mwemba on behalf of the entire Zambia'S production team. This is where we say goodbye and continue enjoying the rest of our programming.